we're doing a little bit of a special broadcast tonight, highlighting our next Clear for Takeoff 201-301 class combination here in Phoenix on July 20th. And so we wanted to talk about it a little bit, talk it up. We've gotten several questions from people. And so we're going to run through the basics of the class, what it is and all that. And then we're going to have a special guest come and join us briefly. And then at the end, we're going to talk about the FAQs, which are some really important bits of information that will help you decide what the class is and if it's the right thing for you. So with me, of course, is my ace fighter pilot, wingman, and backup guy, all around technical guy, Dieter Staudinger. And Dieter, I'm going to go through this. We've been doing this now for a long, long time. And we just came off of a 201 class over in Burbank, and so we're doing one over here in Phoenix here. So
and Captain Ron, that's exactly why we decided to go on tonight, because a lot of you have seen, you know, some of the clips from ABC, NBC, and and we wanted to just help you to kind of like get all your questions answered about the Cleared for Takeoff 201 class. So without further ado, let me just here get the share going, and then you can talk about what.
Okay. So, yeah. So first, what is it? Well, two answers come to mind there. What is it? Is mainly it's a class for anybody out there who is afraid to fly and wants to have a breakthrough experience and get over it. We literally focus, the whole focus for the morning classroom portion is to get you on the airplane in the afternoon. Now, we'll talk about whether or not you want to fly that day. You don't have to fly, that's not mandatory, but we do want to invite you to come and take every opportunity that we have to get you in an airplane, because the whole point is to get you out of your chair and into the air. Okay, and why do you need it? Because this is, you know, one of my favorite movies is What About Bob, where Bob's character is played by Bill Murray, and he's always talking about baby steps. And there's only so many basic steps that you can take when you're talking about fear of flying, because of the obvious last one where you got to get on the airplane. Well, that's what this is all about. So who should take this? Anybody who wants to have that breakthrough moment and get back into the air. And our guest coming up later on is going to talk about her experiences and what this meant in her life to do this. The average person, according to the data that I have, is you know, by the time they identify themselves as wanting to really get over this, they've had it for around 10 years on the average, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. So this is your chance to break through and get out of your chair and into the air. So okay. The date there, I think that's going to be the next one coming up there. It is on Saturday, July 20th. And, okay, I see you get the fear of flying. And so just a quick review of fear of flying. What is it? Well, it's the perception of a life-threatening situation or circumstance combined with feelings of helplessness, which coincidentally is also kind of the definition of trauma and traumatic stress. And I find that many fearful flyers have evidence of trauma and traumatic stress in their lives. So it's the perception. So you want to keep that in mind. It's not real. It's kind of like your fear run amok, because it's anxiety. It's an anxiety disorder. And when you perceive something as life-threatening, and then you have a sense of helplessness with it, it keeps you debilitated. It kind of like makes you a victim, and that's why people have so much trouble overcoming it. And what we're going to do that today, during that day on Saturday, July 20th, we're going to demystify aviation, and we're gonna bust those myths that you have about flying and about the things that take place and how safe it is. So it starts with 4 hours of classroom, actually 4+ in the morning on Saturday morning, July 20th. And then we will be talking about the various topics that we cover in there. As I mentioned before, we're going to talk about the things that you need to accomplish the fearless flight method. And people ask me, what is the fearless flight method? And the fearless flight method is there's 3 steps to it. One is to educate yourself. And what do you want to educate yourself of? Well, you need to know a little bit about psychology, and particularly the psychology of fear of flying. And then the next thing is you need to know something about the basics of flight. And finally, how an airplane works and what makes the difference for that. And then the last thing that we'll give you is tools and strategies that you can go out, if you choose, you can go out that afternoon and practice them with us firsthand. Or if you are not flying for some reason that day with us, the next time you go fly. This is a how-to course, and it's designed to get you, as I said, into the air and out of your chair. The second step is the disrupt mental dialogues. We're going to teach you give you some tools and strategies that will actually help you disrupt that crazy little voice in there that's constantly talking to you and reminding you of the craziness of getting into an airplane or putting yourself in the airplane and letting them close the door on you. And then the last thing, which is not to be diminished or minimized, is the benefit of social collaboration, having other people with you. One of the things that people remark every time we do a class is they come in there and a number of people look around and they say, oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one. So there's a real sense of camaraderie that develops over the day. You'll make friends with people that you'll stay in contact for the rest of your life. If this class is any has anything similar to the classes in the past there. You'll make a lot of friends and you'll see that you're not alone out there. This is a very common problem for a lot of people. And during the class, how do we do it? Well, you want to be prepared for all stages of your flight. So we have some structured experiences that we have. It's very experiential. And the main thing we do is we focus on you being in the airplane, and we'll take you through all the way from going over to the airport, getting in the boarding area. And again, this is not just for that flight that day, but it's for any flight that you will do after this. And we'll walk you through that. We'll talk about the various things that we found are helpful to know, what comes up for people, how to deal with it. And again, tools and strategies that you can employ and practice in the afternoon of the flight. And then for those who actually do the flight, which we'll talk about a little bit more down the road here, we actually run through a very detailed briefing of the flight. So we'll talk about the TSA. If you have any issues with that, we'll talk about what that's like going through. What to do at the gate. We'll be boarding. Usually we pre-board. And we'll be boarding, talking about how you can board early on any flight and to get you on before the crowd. We'll talk about the importance of greeting and confiding in the first flight attendant that greets you at the door, asking if you can meet the pilots up there, which is a tremendous confidence builder. And it's very important to help you connect with the people that will be flying you that day. And it gives you the confidence. You need confidence in 2 areas to get over your fear of flying. One is confidence that flying really is safe. And that's why we talk about that. And then the second bit of confidence is so that you can manage your anxiety. This is one of my custom students that we happened to hit Southwest. This was in Los Angeles, and they were having a superheroes day. It was a fun time. And when they found out that she was a person overcoming her fear of flying, they pulled out all the stops, and we got some great pictures and things that day. But this is it's really a festive occasion, and I know you'll enjoy it. You're probably watching this right now and you're wondering, there's no way that I'm going to be able to go out there the way I feel right now and get on an airplane in just 5 hours after we do this class in the morning. And sorry, but that's the way it goes. So don't mess around with this unless you're serious about overcoming your fear of flying. Okay. So how do you get this confidence that we're talking about? Well, there's things that you have to do. First, you have to acknowledge triggers. Triggers are those things that are whatever activates your anxiety. There's a couple processes for activating your anxiety in the body, but generally here we're going to talk about the need to recognize the triggers, learn how to regulate them, and then replace them with something else. And so we'll do that. We'll teach you those 3 steps, and we'll go through a detailed activity experiential where you'll get a chance to identify your triggers, and we'll talk through people's triggers there to give them a way to recognize, regulate, and replace them as we go through the class that day. Okay. As I mentioned, the whole day is really oriented to acknowledging your presence in the class and giving you the confidence that airplanes are safe, and that you will be, you'll have your own confidence that you can handle whatever anxiety comes up. People, a lot of people try to get to a point in their lives where they believe they won't feel any anxiety anymore. That's actually not true at all. The way you overcome your fear of flying is to actually activate that part of the brain, namely the amygdala, that does trigger your anxiety. And so by doing that, you then learn that day, and you cement in your thinking new neuron pathways that help you overcome your fear. And so it actually takes your system to be activated. So it's not about getting rid of all your anxiety. It's about confronting it and finding ways to deal with it. And that's what we do with the tools and strategies. We're going to give you ways that you can cope. We do something that's kind of fun. When I was a pilot in pilot training, there simply isn't enough time to just put yourself in the airplane and practice everything that you need to learn. So we had to do something we called chair flying. And that's what we'll do during the day of the class. We'll create a mock flight on the second half of the class where we'll actually walk you through step by step what you'll experience on a routine flight. And we'll actually chair fly, and we have some fun things that I surprised the class with that, again, really get you engaged and actually turns out to be a lot of fun. I know, again, that may not be something that comes right to mind thinking about overcoming your fear of flying, but it's a really fun experience for people there. And the mock flight is a big part of it. We'll talk about that. And the one thing I want to make sure that I don't underemphasize here is this day is for you. This is for you to ask your questions. This is for you to get out of your system those things, those blocks, those objections that you've had that have kept you away from family reunions, away from vacations, and away from business trips and business opportunities. This is your day, and I can't overemphasize it, or can't emphasize it enough, how much fun it is and what a great day it is. By the time we'll be going to Las Vegas, and by the time we get into the air out of Phoenix, in usually less than 15 minutes, people are totally into the flight and the experience. And by the time we get to Las Vegas, people are actually kind of antsy about turning around, getting back on the airplane, coming home. So imagine not only flying that day, but imagine actually looking forward with anticipation instead of anticipatory anxiety to getting on that return flight coming home. And if Eric were here, he would remind you that we are not below taking pictures of those of you who fall asleep on the way back. Yep, it's true. We actually have people who fall asleep, and we will blackmail you if we can think of a way to leverage that. So come on out and join us for the class, and most importantly, prepared to fly if that's really what you want to do. And speaking of flying, the next thing that we want to do is we want to talk about the flight itself. I missed that last slide, Dieter, if you want to go back real quick. I want to call your attention there to the pricing that you see on the screen. Check that. That is the most current pricing, and we have special allowances for people out there in special categories. So make sure that you take a look at this and get the pricing down that is suitable for you. Okay, now this class, not only do we have the morning class, which we call the Clear for Takeoff 201, but we're offering as a bonus a separate 301 flight, and that is the advanced class. So Clear for Takeoff 301 is a free class. We used to charge a tuition, but I found that one, it's hard enough to get you to come to the airport and buy a ticket in advance. So we didn't want to burden you with yet another tuition. So any of you who are going to go to the 201 class with us and choose to fly with us in the 301 class in the afternoon, that tuition is completely free for the afternoon. So it's a $197 normal tuition price, but it's absolutely free for anybody that day who chooses to take the 201 class and then fly in the afternoon with us. Okay. And let me see, do I want to go through the rest of those bonuses there? Let's see. Okay. Oh, bonus number 2 is if you decide that you want to fly, or you elect that you don't want to fly on July 20th, we offer another bonus where you can come back and retake the Clear for Takeoff 201 class anytime in the future for a discount of just $197. That's $200 off of the normal price there. So you can have a seat in future 201 classes if you decide that the 301 class is too much for you right now, above and beyond the 201 class, or if you get there that day and for whatever reason you decide that it's not the day to fly. And I want to remind you that of the few people that have chosen not to fly in the 301 class following a 201 class, everybody who's ever come back, of those, we have 100% of the people have flown in the following day. So sometimes it may not be that day, and that's the way we'll teach you even how to look at that, how to approach that, so it turns out to be not a shameful, embarrassing event, but one that you actually take charge of and responsibility for yourself and take care of yourself and decide whether you want to fly or not. But for the most part, everybody goes. I mean, the class that we just did in Burbank was huge. We had the biggest class ever that flew. I think we had 29 out of 31 people who flew, and the other 2 people we've since got reports from, they have either flown or they're planning to fly. So it's a highly successful class that we engage in, and we really are hoping for you to be able to come and join us. So let's see, let me make sure I run through these things. So for the bonus, number 1 bonus, it's going to be free, the tuition for you. If you take the 201 class in the morning, it includes the 301 tuition free in the afternoon, where you fly with us from Phoenix to Las Vegas and back. It includes the airport transfer. We're going to have transportation from the hotel where we're going to do the class over to the airport and back, which makes it easier. You don't have to worry about parking over there. We're going to have a very detailed pre-flight briefing for all of you, and in-flight support. We're actually going to be going with you. I bring myself and a cadre of people to help me. People who many of them, Dieter, of course, is a licensed therapist, and we have other people who have gone through the class there and have been volunteers with us to fly with us on that day. So you got plenty of in-flight support. Like I said, I'll be there so you can ask questions during the flight. And then we have a brief, short post-flight debrief where we get together and we talk about the highs and the lows of the day, usually mostly highs. And we have a certificate of completion that we award to everybody for having the courage to do that. It's a really inspirational day. And again, I don't know how else to pitch it to you other than it's really is an opportunity of a lifetime to get over your fear of flying in a given day. Anything else that you could think of, Dieter, that
no, I think you covered pretty much all of it. One thing that I do want to stress is you do not have to fly. So the flight is not a requirement, it is optional. We have included the tuition for that part of the class, which we call the 301 class, as a free bonus. And you do need to purchase your own Southwest airfare tickets. But when you look at the post or the page where you're watching this video right now, depending on when you're watching that, you can take advantage of either the super early bird or the early bird special. So yeah, I think it's time to have our special guest.
One more, I forgot the guarantee. Holy cow.
Oh, of
Oh
course.
yeah, there is one other thing there for all of
All
you.
right.
This is really the clincher to me. We offer you 100% money back guarantee. Now here's the criteria. Okay, if you purchase the Clifford Takeoff 201 class, complete both classes. You have to fly with us, okay? But if you complete the 201 and then you fly with us on the afternoon on the 301 class, and you are not 100% satisfied, and that's to your satisfaction, not ours, we will refund the entire Clifford Takeoff 201 class tuition. Now we can't refund the price of the airfare because that's out of our jurisdiction, out of our hands, and that's from Southwest Airlines. But remember, it's 100% money back guarantee. If you take the 201 class and then you fly with us in the 301 class, and when you get done, you aren't satisfied that it was worth your day and worth your time, money, and energy, then we will be glad to refund your tuition that day. Now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to bring in a special guest, Patty Oliver, and Patty has been through the class several years ago, and I'm going to let her talk about that a little bit. We'll have a little conversation here. We wanted somebody that not has just taken it just recently, but someone who's taken it a little while ago. So Patty, come on in and welcome to the class here. We're glad to have you here, and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Captain Ron. Thank you for having me. My name is Patty Oliver. I am a registered nurse. I live in Southern California and took your class, I think, about 9 years ago now.
And what was the circumstance? You were living in Tucson, I believe, at the time.
Yes,
when you
right,
came here.
correct.
So you drove up and took the class here, and I think you have a story about what it meant to go through that. So what was your fear for folks out there who may be sitting there watching, thinking, "There's no way that she could be as bad off as I was"?
So I did not fly for 19 and a half years. I don't even know how or why I became a fearful flyer. It happened after I had my first two children. And so maybe that kind of intensified my fears of something happening. And I was stationed in Germany with my husband. And when we flew back to the States, I just knew when I got off the plane that I was never getting on another plane again. And for 19 and a half years, I didn't. So much so that I actually made my husband and my two kids, who were under 3 at the time, ride on a train for 48 hours one way from the East Coast to the West Coast to see families and let them see the grandbabies when we return to the States.
Yeah, and I know we've got people out there. I just talked to another 15-minute coaching session person today who's planning, unless he can get over this, he's planning basically a 4-day train ride to New York City. It's grueling, and so we understand that. So I asked people what their why was. What was the catalytic event, or was there a catalytic event, or what precipitated you saying, okay, I'm going to check out this guy up in Phoenix at the airport and see if he can help me with this? What was the why that got you over this?
I just got tired of missing family events. Like I mentioned, we were a military family, so none of our family lived close by us. I missed weddings, I missed graduations, I missed seeing my parents who were on the opposite end of the country, and I got tired of it. I got tired of missing out on, I felt like I was missing out on life. But I just could not make myself get on a plane. I couldn't. The thought of it was just paralyzing to me. I just couldn't do it. And then I learned about you and your class, and it just spoke to me as something I wanted to try. And to be honest, I didn't think I was going to be successful, but I needed something to get me on a plane. And you changed my life. Your class changed my life.
What were just a couple of highlights or things about the class that stick out to you? We get your little friend there in the background.
I know, sorry.
You're being stalked.
I think, and you called this out earlier when you were speaking tonight, that sense of, I think you feel a lot of shame sometimes when you can't get on a plane and you're missing events and people don't understand why you're not coming. So being in a room with other people who shared my fear, I said it's been 9 years. There's a woman that I met in that class that I'm still friends with on Facebook, and we still connect. So you really do create these kind of relationships. And it's just something about being in a room full of people with a shared kind of fear that takes away the shame and really, really helped me a lot.
Yeah. And obviously you're flying now, but what are some of the differences in your life as a result of flying now, other than the obvious ones? You can go visit people and things like that. Any other, major things that have changed?
Yeah, I have a fantastic job. I fly all the time. I fly so much that
Okay, what? Fly
all the time. I have a companion pass for my husband most years because I fly so much. I'm always A-list preferred. So I have a really great job. I love it. And most days I do up and back travel. So I'm on a plane twice in one day. I've gotten to do great things like go to Hawaii for my 50th birthday, which is something I never would have been able to do. Travel to Florida for my mother's 80th birthday, which was a fabulous, fantastic event. And then 2 years later for my father's 80th birthday. So those are all life events I would have missed. And it would have been, frankly, a tragedy to miss that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just been life-changing.
Yeah. And anything else you can think of that might help people out there, on the fence thinking, I don't know about this. I just, I'm not sure.
Until you take that first step, it's not going to change. So for me, having other people to do it with and not being alone, having your words helping me understand things like turbulence and what it really meant, all those things I fly a lot. I mentioned to you earlier, I had a really rough landing the other day, but that kind of thing would have really shaken me up, and it doesn't anymore. Turbulence doesn't bother me. I just rest through it. I sleep on most flights. But it's not going to change. It's not going to happen for you until you take that first step.
Yeah, thanks, Patty. I really appreciate that. And thanks for taking time out and coming here. You've been a great supporter. And one of the things I love about you and other people is that, I say the price of this is to pay it forward and share it with other people. And you've been a real good person in that way. So thanks, and enjoy the rest of your evening, and thanks for joining us. Okay.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks, Patty. Okay, Dieter, let's get into the FAQs here and answer some questions that are more typical questions that people bring up. And if coming back, you promised me you would come back. So, all right. I think you're going to join me here.
The slides are up. The first question is.
First question: where's the class being held? Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
No. That's always obviously the most obvious question for anybody who is looking for fear of flying classes. Is the class anywhere near me? And maybe you can speak to where people have come from.
Oh my gosh, the furthest person that's come to the class drove, I might add, from Fort Walton Beach, and we've already got a person that's enrolled from Tyler, Texas, coming out here. So and we do, if you are coming in from out of town, we do have arrangements with the hotel. It's at the Hilton Phoenix Airport, which is just south of the Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. And as I mentioned, they will be providing transportation for us to go to the airport and then pick us up after the flight on the way back. So we'll have directions and everything for you in the instruction page when you register for the class. Okay. Next one, do I have to fly? As Dieter said, no, you really don't have to. And we encourage you to, because it's a great opportunity. It is a way to take advantage of the special 301 bonus. It is also a way to get our money back guarantee. If you fly that afternoon and take the class in the morning, if it does not meet your satisfaction, then we will give you the tuition that you paid us back. And the reason we can say that is because that isn't an issue. People are so satisfied. And I know that's hard to believe. It's not just a matter of, oh my God, I just got through the day. It's a matter of people saying, oh my God, I can't believe I waited this long to do this. And I wish I could just transplant from my brain to your brain the experience that I've had and seeing all of the people and the breakthroughs that they've had on that. So will a class trigger my claustrophobia? Maybe. But remember, that's the whole reason you're coming. We want your symptoms to show up because this is what it's all about. I know a lot of people do therapy and they've been 5-10 years in therapy. And I ask them, are you, and I totally support that. But I said, are you flying? And when they say no, I said, you got to do that. Fear of flying is kind of a cowardly phobia. And that is, the symptoms hide until you're either in the vicinity of an airplane or your mind believes that you're going to be in the vicinity of an airplane. So just taking that step and booking a flight is what's going to bring out all of your stuff, okay? And it's like turbulence. I joke with the crowd. I said, I've put in a request for some turbulence today. Why? Because I want you with me and the rest of the group when we experience that. And so it is what it is. And it probably will trigger your claustrophobia, but I hate to say it, but we hope so. Okay, what if you choose to fly, purchase the flight option and a Southwest ticket, and then you decide it's not your day? And that's the way that I presented to the class. You get to the airport. We encourage you to go with us to the airport. 2, I encourage you to board with us, and I make sure that you have plenty of ample time to deplane before it's embarrassing or disruptive for the flight and the rest of the people on it. But we have had people actually decide to get off, and one of the most recent classes, the Southwest captain of the day, he came out and gave us a warm greeting when we pre-boarded the airplane, and then he heard that a passenger was off. He went off and actually talked her back on. I've never had anybody who's left the airplane and got back on in the same day, and he had that. So I don't like to talk about that a lot because I don't think I want you to be really proactive and looking forward to the flight. But if you get there and you decide it's not your day to fly, no big deal. You get off, and we'll even talk about how you get off with a mental attitude that it's you choosing not to fly, and it's not your fear of flying that's raising its ugly head and preventing you from getting on the airplane. So, okay. Refund and cancellation policy. All right. And let me bring that up here. We've never canceled a 201 or a 301 class in 30 years. However, we do reserve the right, and we want to mention here, if for some reason we decide to do that anytime before June 20th, it'll be a month before. Once we get past June 20th, we're committed to holding the class no matter how many people we have. So if we do, you'll be refunded 100% of your tuition. And regarding the Southwest ticket that you want, because you want to buy that ticket as soon as possible, as along with registering for the class, because the earlier you buy the ticket for the flight we're going to take, and that information is in the information page, the earlier you buy the flight, the less expensive it is. So should we cancel the flight or you decide not to fly, you will get a credit for the purchase price that you paid for the ticket up to 1 year from the date that you purchased the Southwest ticket. So that's another kind of an insurance policy. And we're assuming that if for some reason you don't fly that day, that you're going to fly sometime in the future, hopefully within a year. Because if you're not flying within a year, you want to really look at how serious you are about doing that. Okay, so we can cancel class, but we've never done that. Okay, will there be audio video recordings available after class? Yes, we record the class to provide you all, among other, at the very least, an audio and a video recording so that you can use this down the road. And they are available. We have a special price to do that. It's really quite nominal. It just basically covers the price for us to have somebody come and video it and then put it together in a rudimentary edited form so that you can have audio and video history. And plus, it's really cool to see yourself as you're going through the day and capture that. Okay. Next, will there be, that's audio after the class. Yes, we will provide after the class the opportunity. Oh no, I'm sorry, I forgot to say, if the special prices for people who want to purchase the audio and the video the day of the class there. What if I need some more help? If you have any specific needs, please contact us directly at our Fearless Flight Help Desk. And the best way to stay connected, if you haven't done so, is to join Fearless Flight Birds of a Feather, our special Facebook group. And the Facebook group is a really good tool for people who are working on or in support of having flown recently. So being active in that group, using it as a tool and becoming active and staying a fearless flyer, it's really important to have ongoing connection with us and with other people. And most importantly, remember, every week we have a Fearless Flight live show every Tuesday at 6:30 Pacific. And not only do we have it going out over Facebook now, but Dieter has mastered the art of getting that out, just as this is, out over our YouTube channel. So now you can watch it on your platform of choice and stay current with us in that way. Okay, I think I've covered everything. Can I talk to you? I think that's the last one here. If you have something that we haven't covered here today, and you need or would like to discuss any of the options that we've laid out here, or have any questions about it, or just you're not too sure where you're going in terms of your fear flying, please register for a free 15-minute coaching session. That is the way most of the people that I end up helping now come in contact with me. I can't imagine why you wouldn't want to do that. So if you have any questions about anything, not even related to the 201 or the 301 classes here directly, but anything about fear flying, and maybe you have a flight coming up and you need to talk to somebody about that, please register for a free coaching session with me, and we'll help to get you on the right path. Okay. Again, we're going to bring up the pricing window here. So take a look at the on-screen pricing here. And we have a special plan if you need, if the price is not, is more of a challenge for you, and you need some assistance with that, we do have a two-pay plan. And so take a look at the screen for all of those, the information on purchasing the class in a two-pay method. Okay, and last, we want to highlight again the bonuses. Remember, if you sign up for the 201 class and come to that class on Saturday, July 20th, it includes the 301 class, the flight in the afternoon, with the tuition is waived for that, a regular $197 tuition that is free if you fly with us that afternoon. And it includes the transportation to the airport with us and back, and a pre-flight briefing, a very detailed briefing for those of you who are going on the flight with us. In-flight support, we're going to have me, Dieter, and an appropriate number of other people with us that day, so that we have plenty of coverage for all of you flying with us. And then I couldn't read the last one there. Let me get that up there. Oh, and then when we get done, post-flight debrief and certificate of completion at the airport when we get done. We have a really kind of a fun little ceremony there where we have everybody share their experiences real quickly there, and then we take a group picture, and then you're done. And it's a one-day event. You can't beat it. Come there and do the class in the morning, fly with us in the afternoon, and you will be through your flying and on to the rest of your life. So Saturday, July 20th, 2019, come and join us. And no matter where you're coming from, please, if you're anywhere near and you've been wanting to get over this hurdle, please consider joining us in the 201 class. Okay.
Well, thank you so much. I think a lot of people really will appreciate the fact, that you took the time and really broke down the class, because I think we often understate the effectiveness of the classes. You know, fear of flying is an anxiety disorder, and it is one of those disorders, you know, as a therapist, that really works best through exposure therapy and social interaction, social collaboration, and the classes are designed to fully maximize that effect. And so, like Patty said earlier in the interview, I mean, 9 years later, she is still friends with someone that she met that day in the class. And
Yeah, let me just add
Yeah.
that what you said there is I do tend to minimize this because it's something like flying for me. It's become so routine, and I don't mean flying as a pilot. I mean flying with you all as fearful flyers. I forget, even as much as I'm in contact with all of you, I forget what a big hurdle it is. And when I first started doing the flight classes, it was amazing. I remember people getting to the airport and having serious reservations about getting on the airplane. And my first experiences, I was worried that I would break or damage some of you out there. But after 31 years and all the successes that I've seen, I can't overemphasize how really dramatic this is for people who want to get over their fear of flying. It's something that I love, Dieter loves. We do this for a passion, and we're going to be there to support you on that day. And there's no other opportunity like this, I guarantee you. And it's an intensive day. And it's designed to do that. It's designed to get you in there with a lot of support, both the people that are taking the class with you and the assistants that I'll have that day. And we just really hope that this works out for you and you'll come and join us on July 20th. So thanks again to Dieter. Thanks to Patty for coming and sharing her experiences with her. And we really hope to see you on July 20th. And until that time, blue skies and tailwinds. Those are the two things you love to hear as a pilot. So come back with us and get out of your chair into the air. And remember, the pain in your brain has nothing to do with the plane.